Have you ever felt like a deer in the headlights, caught in the middle of a verbal crossfire, on the receiving end of someone else's 90-mile-an-hour train of thought, watching the grill get closer and closer with every nanosecond? The person may be playing on your tendency to blame yourself or put yourself down. But they may be acting on your behalf, but they just skipped the part about asking you what you really think about the subject. You feel as if you have no other choice but to jump aboard full force or to be literally railroaded. Is there any other choice? Or are we destined to be a silent partner along for the ride? I'm Dana Hicks, a licensed clinical mental health counselor, and I have 5 tips to permit clear thought even in the face of dogma. Tip 1 is notice your alarm. So list or note over time ways your body typically reacts to time limits and peer pressure. For example, your breath may get shallow, your muscles may tense, your temperature might rise, and your heart might speed up. Record and or non-judgmentally name these reactions when you notice them. Tip 2 is give yourself a timeout. When your body reacts this way, know that it is working for your benefit. Consider it a useful warning sign that you need to press pause. There's hardly ever a situation where you don't at least have time to take a deep breath before you respond. In any conversation and at any point, you always have a choice to step back so you can get your thoughts together and respond as wisely as possible. So an example of doing this might be, hey, those are really intriguing thoughts. I would love to think deeper on this and get back to you. Tip 3 is provide yourself a mental boundary. And by that I mean, imagine you are in the middle of a circle. And that circle is your boundary between your true self and everyone else who would like to weigh in on this subject. You get to decide what this circle or boundary is made out of. It could be cement or plastic or anywhere in between in regards to flexibility. You get to decide how far away this boundary is from you. It could be a football field, 1 inch, or anywhere in between. You get to decide how high this boundary goes. Is it just as high as your knee? A little bit higher than your head? Or as high as a mile? You get to decide. Once all these details are in place, spend as much time as you need in the middle of this boundary until the image is firmly established in your brain. Tip 4 is give yourself permission to think from your truest self. So from the middle of this boundary that you have established, surround yourself with supports that give you permission, time, and space to evaluate the situation for your own self. These supports might be people, places, objects, sights, smells, sounds that remind you of your truest self at your very core. Once you have all these details in place, spend as much time as you need in the middle of these supports until you feel firmly rooted in the freedom they provide. Tip 6 is pose the actual question. So ask your true self what you actually feel and think about the subject. Write or record yourself talking about everything that comes to mind. Spend as much time with these ideas as you need to until you feel grounded within your stance. To wrap up, admitting and facing conflict can be intimidating, and it can tempt us to go against our gut, and perhaps even worse, let others define our opinions, waiving our right to form our own. But the tips in this video pave the way for an unconditional and consistent chance at thinking for ourselves and expressing our true opinions on our own timetable. Stay tuned for next time on phrasing our true opinions so that they can be heard and openly considered. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe below with no strings attached.